Hi guys, in the previous video I was talking about basics of game development and basics of not only game but program development. Now I'm going to talk about game development in general. Game development. Okay, so I'm going to give an example with a snake game. I hope everyone knows a snake game. We all used to play that on our old Nokia phones. Some of us still miss it and still download that game on our iPhones. Yeah, but anyway, it's a snake game. So you have a game running inside on a platform, or maybe on Windows, on your phone, on Android, whatsoever. But now we're going to actually have a snake game. That is our game in this instance. I'm going to give an example using this, and then from there we're going to have this one running on Windows. Running this on Windows. Okay, but then I'm gonna give example with Windows whenever I have to explain like system specific applications, and then from there from there I have Windows and like our game is the snake game, and then from there well, I'm gonna be using Java as a language. I'm gonna be using Java to develop the game. Okay, so we know Java runs on the JDK. All right, yes, and then from there we are going to actually look at the game development of a snake game, for instance, and you can use this structure to build any game. So here I'm going to talk about general game development. Okay, so this is a snake game running on a Windows system. So basically this, when you compile this, is going to be a Java file and will be compiled to Atlas file, which is actually a bytecode that will run on the JDK. Okay, but the JDK itself, okay, the JDK itself, this will run on the JDK. Okay, yes, but the JDK itself runs on C. Okay, and C itself runs on the machine. Okay, and can access like the libraries in the machine, can access the kernel, drivers like audio, video, and blah 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 blah. Okay, this is the hierarchy. So, but we're not going to be going that low. We're going to be working on this level only, inside this box only. Okay, we won't be going down to the JDK and configuring anything in there. So now I'm going to take this box, put it here. Okay, so, and just call this a snake game. Okay, now for a snake game, we'll need inputs, meaning there must be a way in which you can actually, control the game. So the game will need inputs for this snake going up, going down, going to the side, blah, 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 controlling like the snake when it's moving on the screen. So you actually need like input, and the input is going to, in this case, it's going to be a keypad. Like I said, now this is going to be on a computer, so it's going to be a keyboard. And then from there also, okay, it's going to need a keyboard only. There can be more inputs like I explained in the previous video, but then only need a keyboard. And then for result and printing, we'll need a screen. We'll need a screen. And then from there for audio, we'll need audio. Okay, we'll need audio. And then just like I specified in the previous video, we're going to use this special library called SCD-lib. So mostly for most of our graphics application things, and other additional things. Okay, so now from here, I'm going to actually specify what libraries you're going to use to read from these things. So, and we're going to store our state also, the state of our game, inside a file called well, in some file, okay, like a high score. We want to store a high score in a file, and that file name is going to be called highscore.txt. All right, so I'm going to be using a text file to store data. Okay, so it's a bit normal text that you can also read. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, now from here, okay, this is a snake game, this is a keyboard, this is that. All right. Perfect. So I'm going to also like put down some interesting things. Now the audio is going to be playing at a rate of 44100 kilohertz, kilohertz. Okay, and then the screen is going to be refreshed at a specific rate. So I'm not going to control it, but I'm going to control the screen, and I'm going to approximate like the refreshing rate of the screen by like 40, 40 frames per second, 40 FPS. Okay, I'm going to approximate that. It's going to be around that. Okay, and you're going to control this using a while loop. All right, and from there we'll have a keyboard on the side. So here's the keyboard. All right, so the keyboard, now we're going to be using letters and to be specific, ASCII letters to read. So we're going to read ASCII values from the keyboard and then process them in our Java program and then produce an output. Okay, so you can see everything that is here. This is just like more specific things, but they are going to be controlled by the game. So the game must actually manage everything. Okay, it must know whenever I say an input, what am I going to do? Okay, perfect. So well, perfect. Now from here I'm going to like go to the box now. In the previous, in the the next page, and then show how you can now design a game. So like I said, this is just an example using a snake game, but then you can use any other or you can use this structure to develop any type of game. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about the flow of the game. So game flow, or I can have I can say structure. What should I call it? A game structure. A game structure. And in formal terms, I'm going to call it like a flow chart. A flow chart. Okay. Okay, or you can also call it like a pseudocode or a visual pseudocode, or you can call it a block diagram. Yeah, so but basically this is important. Okay, this is like important, and you need this before you start building anything. So like I mentioned in the first video, building a software needs you to understand what you want to do. So basically you must lay down your perspective. You must lay down a list of things that you need from your game. Okay, so now let's go and actually list down the list of things that we need from our game and what must happen. Okay, now one, okay, fine. So when you open the game, let's see, when you open the game, you want to see a menu. And the menu must have play. Okay, it must have high score, and it must have exit. Okay, 2. Now when you click high score, it must print high scores. Print high score or list of high scores. When you exit, it must exit and go out. When you play, it must take you to the game loop. Okay, I will explain the game loop later. But now let's actually talk about the game itself. When you press play, because that's the main thing. Now when you press play, what do you want? It's a snake game. So now we are going to say we want snake, a snake that is shown using droplet, not droplets, like bubbles like this. So I'm going to choose to use O's or circles to represent my snake, and the head will be something that looks like this. Okay, and it's going to be moving up and down, sideways, blah 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 blah. So this is how my snake looks. Okay, and then you're going to decide on the size of your window. You can actually be like, okay, fine, I have 1000 here by 700 window size. Okay, now from here, now we're gonna say, okay, fine, well, that is our snake. Now a requirement, now there's gonna be food on the screen, so you can decide that I'm going to have like a blue dot, and that blue dot is going to be food. Okay, so I'm going to be placing food there, but then what is the condition for food? Okay, so when the snake is in idle mode, meaning basically if no food on screen, okay, fine, place food, okay, fine, on screen, but not on snake. Not on snake. All we're saying is that place food on any point but not on the snake, because the snake is also at some position. At some point the snake will be at some position, so make sure you do not place the food on the snake. Okay, yes, and the food must stay there up until it's eaten. Okay, so if no food, place food. Okay, because if the snake eats the food, well, the food will be eaten, so there won't be food anymore, so you have to place food again. Okay, so don't worry about this. Now from there, we're going to say, okay, fine. Well, I have a snake, I have that. Okay, so second condition is that, okay, fine, the snake must go linearly. The snake must move like this, or like that, or like that, or like that. And the direction must only change when you press a button. Now I'm going to define that this is buttons on the keyboard, so I'm going to choose Y for up, okay, I'm going to choose J for right, and I'm going to choose G for left, and I'm going to choose B for down. Okay. Now from there, I'm going to say that, okay, fine, well, this is the game, and now this snake will actually move up until a key is pressed, okay? So it will move up until something is pressed. All right, so basically here, it says your inputs. This is what must happen, okay? Now from there, okay, the snake will move, the snake down. Now, if snake eats food, add dot at the end, meaning if it eats food, add a dot at the end, meaning it becomes bigger. Okay, all right. Now from there, okay, what you're gonna say again is that if snake hits a wall, well, exit and show score. Okay, exit and show score. All right, so maybe we want sound. Well, if it eats food, add a dot to the end. Okay, add a dot to the end, and then play food eating sound. All right, okay. And then from there, like you see, I'm writing a flowchart, I'm writing the requirements of my application. Okay, so play, this is the play. So basically for input, this must happen. If it is food, okay, it must add to the end. Okay, play sound. If snake hits a wall, exit the game. So basically, have you covered everything? Then snake will start at some position, will initialize that position. It will move linearly until you press a button. If it hits a wall, game over. If it eats food, it's going to grow. But now here we have another condition that says if no food on the screen, add food. Meaning if there's no food, I mean if it has eaten the food, well, no food. Okay, so these are user requirements. These are not technical requirements. This is not how you'll go there and write code. I mean, you can't go to a code and say grow and it just grows. You must definitely make a plan and say, okay, fine. The snake, I mean, at the position where the snake ate the food, well, as the snake is moving, you're going to add the tail at the position as the snake is moving. I mean, that is a possible thing. Or you can actually add a tail at the moment, or you can make the head grow and then put the tail there. I'm going to put a dot there. But the point is make it grow. So the growing also has to be defined. Okay. So, and there can be stages. You can have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. You can have like a lot of stages. Then from there you have an input. If snake eats food, if snake eats a wall, exit. That's. So, further than this, what more would you need from a snake game? Nothing. Okay, so let's talk more about the actual program block code in the next video. Thank you.